Hello and welcome to grammar class. Today's topic is elliptical constructions. First off, what is the meaning of ellipsis? Well, the word ellipsis means omission or leaving out. So in English grammar, an elliptical construction or elliptical sentence is one in which a word or a group of words is omitted or left out to avoid its repetition without changing the meaning of the sentence. From this definition, we understand that in an elliptical construction, a word or a set of words is omitted or left out from the sentence to avoid unnecessary repetition, but the meaning of the sentence remains the same. Here are some examples of how a full sentence becomes an elliptical sentence without undergoing any change in the meaning. John runs faster than I run is a full sentence. We see here that the verb run has been used in both the clauses of the sentence. So to avoid this unnecessary repetition of the word run, we may omit it from the second clause without affecting the meaning of the sentence. Thus, this act of omitting a word or a group of words which are clearly understandable from the context without affecting the meaning is known as ellipsis in English grammar. John runs faster than I is an elliptical sentence. In the sentence you love ice cream and I love chocolates, the verb love has been used in both the independent clauses. Hence, it may be omitted from the second clause without changing the meaning of the sentence. And even after the omission from the second clause, the presence of the verb love is understandable. You love ice cream and I chocolates is the elliptical construction. Then in the next example, Lena is lazy and her brother is not lazy, the adjective lazy is repeated. To avoid this unnecessary repetition, we may leave out the adjective lazy from the second clause without affecting the meaning. The elliptical construction is Lena is lazy but her brother is not. In this way, we understand that ellipsis makes a sentence shorter by eliminating the use or unnecessary repetition of an obvious word or a group of words without changing the meaning. So remember, ellipsis involves the omission of only unnecessary and obvious elements from the sentence to make it shorter without changing its meaning. Now I am going to explain all the different types and structures of elliptical constructions used in English. Different types of elliptical constructions are quite common in spoken English. For example, the full sentence, "Are you going to office?" may be ellipted as "going to office?" In this elliptical sentence, the auxiliary "are" and the subject pronoun "you" are ellipted, yet the meaning is clear. The next full sentence is, "Yes, I am going to office." But in spoken English, the whole expression "going to office" may be ellipted, because even without it, the meaning is clear from the question. The elliptical construction is, "Yes, I am." We say thank you so much. This is also an elliptical construction because the subject pronoun I has been omitted from this sentence. Put your hands up is a grammatically complete sentence, but it may be ellipted as hands up as the meaning is still clear. Another full sentence, "I am sorry sir," for example, becomes "sorry sir" in the elliptical construction. Why? Because even after the omission of the subject I and the verb am, the meaning is still clear and obvious. In sentences of comparative degree, ellipsis occurs in the second clause. For example, in the sentence, "John is taller than you are," the use of the verb are after you is not strictly necessary. So it may be omitted without affecting the meaning of the sentence. John is taller than you is the elliptical construction. Then we have the full sentence, "Children love stories more than they love poetry." In this sentence, the verb love has been used in both the clauses. This repetition is unnecessary and clumsy. So in elliptical construction, the sentence becomes concise or shorter as the verb love is removed from the second clause without changing the meaning. Children love stories more than poetry. When two or more independent clauses joined by and or but have the same subjects or objects or complements or verbs, this repetition of the subjects, objects, complements or verbs is eliminated through ellipses. In these examples, the word or words to be ellipted or omitted from the full sentences are shown in bracket. In the first example, the two independent or coordinate clauses he sings well and he dances well have the same subject pronoun he. So we may leave out the same subject pronoun he from the second coordinate clause without changing the meaning. He sings and dances well is the elliptical construction. In the second example, both the clauses have the same verb teaches. In order to avoid this unnecessary repetition, the obvious verb teaches is removed from the second clause, but the meaning is not affected. The elliptical construction Bob teaches English and Tom French sounds concise and smart. But please notice that we have used a comma in place of the ellipted verb teaches in the second clause after the subject Tom. In the next example, both the independent clauses have the same verb played. So we omit the verb played from the first clause here and join the subjects of the two clauses with the pair conjunction both and. Both you and your brother played well is an elliptical sentence. Now look at the next elliptical construction. You played well and so did your brother. In this construction, the first clause you played well remains the same, but ellipsis occurs in the second clause. Here the elliptical structure for the second clause is the conjunction and plus so plus the auxiliary verb did followed by the subject your brother. You played well and so did your brother. In the next example, the full sentence you did not come and he did not come, both the clauses have the same negative verb did not come. So we may ellipse this sentence with the pair conjunction neither nor. Neither you nor he came. However, we may also use ellipsis in the second clause of this sentence. The first clause you did not come remains the same and the elliptical structure for the second clause is and plus neither plus the auxiliary verb did followed by the subject he. You did not come and neither did he. In this way we learn that if both the clauses in the full sentence are affirmative, we use the elliptical structure of so. But if both the clauses are negative in the full sentence, we use the elliptical structure of neither. Now look at the full sentence. You are a singer and I am a singer too. The same noun, a singer, is used in both the clauses. So we are going to use the noun ellipsis by omitting the repeated noun singer from the second clause. You are a singer and I am too. This is the elliptical structure of to. But in the elliptical structure of so, the verb or auxiliary verb comes before the subject. You are a singer and so am I. But remember, in these elliptical structures of to and so, we must put a comma after the first clause. We may also use the elliptical structure of not either if both the clauses in the full sentence are negative. In the sentence, he did not pass the test and I did not pass the test, the verb phrase did not pass the test is common in both the clauses. So we are going to use verb phrase ellipsis in the second clause here. First, see the elliptical structure of not either. He did not pass the test and I did not either. And like I said earlier, since both the clauses are negative here, we may also use the elliptical structure of neither. He did not pass the test and neither did I. In these elliptical structures also, do not forget to put a comma after the first clause. In short, we use the elliptical structures of so and to when both the clauses are affirmative, while on the other hand, we use the elliptical constructions of either or neither when both the clauses are negative. However, sometimes we have a sentence in which the two clauses joined by the conjunction but have the same verb and the first clause is affirmative while the second clause is negative. For example, John has finished his work but Tom has not finished his work. Here we have to omit the main verb from the second clause but not the auxiliary verb. So the elliptical construction is John has finished his work but Tom has not. In the next example, you must study hard and I must study hard too. Both the clauses have the same verb phrase, study hard. So we are going to omit the obvious and unnecessary verb phrase study hard from the second clause. The elliptical constructions are: number 1, you must study hard and so must I. Number 2, you must study hard and I must too. Well, then ellipsis is also used in contracted or reduced relative clauses. In elliptical relative clauses, the relative pronoun is omitted. And even after the omission of the relative pronoun and its verb, the meaning of the sentence is clear. For example, in the sentence, the boy who is standing on the dais is my brother, who is standing on the dais is the relative clause. Now, even if I omit the relative pronoun who and its auxiliary verb is, the meaning of the sentence is still clear and obvious. So here the elliptical construction is: the boy standing on the dais is my brother. I really enjoyed the book that you gifted me. From this sentence also, the relative pronoun that may be ellipted without changing the meaning of the sentence. I really enjoyed the book you gave me is an elliptical sentence. Then in the sentence, the police have recovered the car that was stolen yesterday, that was stolen yesterday is the relative clause. In the elliptical construction, the relative pronoun that and its auxiliary verb was may be omitted without changing the meaning. The meaning is still clear if we just say the police have recovered the car stolen yesterday. If the subordinate clause and the main clause have the same subjects and verbs, ellipsis may occur in the subordinate clause. For example, in the sentence, although he is poor, he is happy, the subordinate clause he is poor and the main clause he is happy have the same subjects and verbs, he is. So the subject and the verb may be omitted from the subordinate clause. Although poor, he is happy. In the sentence, I will walk when you walk, both the principal clause and the subordinate clause have the same verb, work. So the repeated verb walk in the subordinate clause may be replaced with its simple present auxiliary do. Now the elliptical construction is I will walk when you do. Also in the sentence, while I was going to school, I saw a one-eyed man. Both the subordinate clause and the principal clause have the same subject, I. Hence, we may leave out the subject I and its auxiliary verb was from the subordinate clause without affecting the meaning. So the elliptical sentence is, while going to school, I saw a one-eyed man. Well, then ellipsis is also used after a question word in the second clause to avoid unnecessary repetition. Now look at the first sentence on your screen attentively. He left the hostel without informing anyone, but nobody knows why he left the hostel without informing anyone. In this sentence, we see that the expression he left the school without informing anyone is unnecessarily repeated in the second part of the sentence. So even if we omit this expression from the sentence, the meaning will not change. The meaning will still remain clear. So the elliptical construction is he left the hostel without informing anyone, but nobody knows why. In the next example also, I have seen you before, but I cannot remember where I have seen you before. The expression I have seen you before has been unnecessarily repeated in the second clause. Even after omitting this expression from the second clause, the meaning remains clear. Hence the elliptical construction, I have seen you before, but I cannot remember where. Finally, we are going to see how elliptical constructions are also used in newspaper headlines, product labels, signs, and messages, etc. For example, the newspaper headline 50 killed in an air crash is an elliptical construction. The full sentence would have been 50 passengers were killed in the air crash. Elliptical constructions are also used in messages. For example, the mobile message flight cancelled to arrive by next flight tomorrow has two elliptical constructions. We understand that the full sentences would have been the flight has been cancelled and we are to arrive by the next flight tomorrow. Elliptical constructions are also common in signage or signboards. For example, for sale means this house is for sale. And restricted area is the elliptical construction for this is a restricted area. That's the end of today's class. Hopefully you benefited from the video. Please be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe to our channel for more grammar videos. Thanks for watching.